This morning we're going to fit up a windscreen. Now this is pretty much the same for all the cars that we handle. It's only some of the 140s that got bonded windscreens. Many of them had a rubber. But anyway, today we're dealing with Mike's PV544, which is clearly just a rubber screen surround. And we're using a brand new windscreen in this instance because they're so cheap that you might as well put them in. Now we have actually already offered up the rubber. 2 points to note when fitting the rubber to the screen is: one, you want the join at the bottom, central bottom. So here is the join of the rubber, here on the bottom side of the windscreen. And we found the easiest technique to get this rubber on is to sort of roll it. So down with the palm of your hand and then just roll it like that, and you hear it slot into place. There. There we go. So that's how we put the rubber on. And I've actually left this for a few days in the summer warmth, just for it to really settle in to its shape. I have a suspicion that makes it easier when actually fitting it into the car, that the rubber will try and stay in place on the screen. That's my theory. Next, we get our fitting rope. So you want some sort of nice slippery nylon for this task, and you can actually get a particular tool like this that makes life very easy. So pull the nylon pretty much all the way through to the end, leave yourself ½ meter, and we like starting from the top of the screen, I think. Okay, well that's where we're going to do it. We're going to start from the top of the screen. Give yourself a bit of an overlap. Lift up the innermost lip of the seal, and then with your thumb holding that nylon in place, just run your tool around. And then overlap over the top of your starting, and there we go. So you know that when this screen goes in, you're going to start pulling this one first. Once it's cleared this cord, then you can pull both cords. But first of all, we have to pull this cord first when it goes into the car. Okay, so let's do that. Here we are, over to Mike's car. Obviously, carefully clean up the entire lip of the glass aperture of all the old sealant. And on the Amazon, you will often find just above the heater vents in this sort of a position, the lip may frequently have started to corrode. If you find that, then take the extra time, send it to your favourite bodywork man to make that lip good and to seal it all off again, because it will just open out into this part of the scuttle ultimately. So make good any damage on the bottom lip particularly before you do this. Okay, just before we do this, I'm just going to pop round the seal with a dilute solution of washing up liquid, just to help that rubber go in without tearing. Okay, and now we can set to work. Generally, the way we find this works best for our team is that Emma goes inside and works with the ropes, and I go outside patting. If my cameraman will step forth. Okay, now go either side of the car and eyeball this bit of seal matches with the aperture and get it fairly balanced. So I can just see a little bit of the curl here before it becomes the aperture. And I can see about 5 mil of it here. So I'm going to move the screen 5 mil that way. I think that's possibly gone exactly too far the other way now, but there. Right, and now Emma will start pulling down on the tool side of it first. Yep. Yeah, until you've got classy overlap. And then, now she's past the overlap, she can use both cords. Steady, stay there. Oh no, continue on this way, that's it. It's me, Deke. And I'm pushing as much as I can up on this bottom lip here. Now the corners are the kind of critical bits and very easy to tear. There, that just slotted in nicely there. It's very easy to tear these corners, so don't over force it. Okay, and now I'm going to come back to the other side. Okay, so I'm pushing up and there it goes. There it goes. Wow, wasn't that lovely? Now we're just going to go round and now fairly heavily on the seal, I'm going to pat it in. So, with the palm of your hand, make sure the whole of that rubber is seated down firmly. Do not be tempted to hit hard on the glass, but you can hit hard on the rubber. Obviously, if you hit hard on the glass, you run the risk of cracking it. Now, if there's any asymmetry, you can move this left and right to a certain extent if everything was clean and you used that washing up liquid solution. Here, I can just get my fingers neatly down the curl here. Let's go and try on the other side. Yeah, that's beautifully symmetric. Well, I'm really pleased with that. And now, something I forgot to mention earlier, of course, we had removed the interior trims. On the PV, it's just two uprights. On the Amazon, there's also a top trim. All three have to be removed before you remove and install a new screen. So we can now go in and replace those interior trims. Now, in fact, it can be difficult to find the correct hole because of the long reach behind these trims. If you do struggle, then just get yourself a bit of fine wire to chase through that hole and get the whole trim aligned before trying to get the screw into the correct place. But this has gone in nicely today. And the other side. Now, it being summer, I'm now going to let that go off for 3 or 4 days, in other words, to allow that solution to dry off entirely. Now, on this car, we have chosen to use the screen rubber that has no trim in it, because this is a rally car. The trim has no structural effect at all on this era of Volvos, and certainly it's a difficult task. This is why we use our man Steve at Eastern Windscreens, is because he is able to refit that soft aluminium trim without damaging it. It's a very rare person that can do that. That is going to be, as a home job task, your big problem, is fitting the soft aluminium trims back in again, particularly on the Amazon. However, we've cheated and gone for the no trim rubber, and therefore we don't have that task. Okay, well, I'm just going to clean my windscreen now and make it all nice and smart, and then we'll be back again in a few days to go round it with the sealant. We've had a weekend allowing any insulation moisture that we used when getting that rubber into the car to dry out. So now we're just going to go around it with the sealant. We like Arbomast auto grade windscreen sealing compound. This is the stuff that Eastern Windscreens use routinely, and we have no reason to doubt their decision. So I'm going to go around the outer side first, and then we'll do the inner. And Emma's going to stand by with this little plastic tool just in case I'm struggling a bit to keep the nozzle underneath the rubber there. It's about that must be a 5 mil internal diameter there that I've used, so a fairly narrow bead. Let's go to it. And today I shall start from the top. And off we go, there it goes. Okay, let's just zoom in on that and show you how it's all creeping out already. Okay, it's basically creeping out on both sides of the rubber seal. And we'll just pan round this now and just show you how it looks close up. Yeah, that's good enough. So we're now going to leave this for 48 hours. This sealant remains soft after installation, which is one of the reasons it works so well. However, by leaving it for 48 hours, this will get a little bit stiffer and easier to remove. And also, leaving it 48 hours means everything will creep out that wants to creep out. So we'll come back in 48 hours time and just trim away the excess sealant here before putting the wipers back on. Well, that's it really. That's how to install a screen. Now, obviously, as we mentioned earlier, on the Amazon and P800, and indeed the 140, the tricky bit is to put the chromed trim back in, which is a soft aluminium. Now, I've got no tips for that. It's a devil of a job to do without damaging, and we just use our man Steve at Eastern Windscreens, who is the best installer of this that I've ever met. And thankfully he hasn't retired yet, so whilst he hasn't retired, we just get him in. But in this instance, this seal here has no ability to have the trim. We chose it specifically that it's a rally car, and therefore we don't particularly want the trim on this. So this is a trim-free rubber. That's it. Thank you very much.